for joining us today. We are here at the Perimenopausal Athletes and Beyond Masterclass Series and hearing from experts on female physiology, nutrition, training, recovery, so you can be in your best health and pretty much kick ass in life and in sport. And today we are joined by Erin Carson, and we are so lucky because of what she's been up to. But let me give you a little bit of a background. She is co-owner and operator of RallySport, and that is in Boulder, Colorado. It's a training facility, a phenomenally beautiful training facility with a great outdoor pool and really great gym. And she's also the founder of ECFIT Performance Strength. And there you can find a really good quality videos of doing exercises correctly. I mean, I'm talking about Erin here, but in anyways, she's a specialist, obviously, in strength training, has worked with world champion Miranda Carfe, Kara Guter, and has recently developed a really great strength program with Dr. Stacy Sims. And that's specifically for women in perimenopause and menopause. And so we are lucky to really dig into this, to talk about strength training and the importance of it for women in perimenopause. And boy, I have so many questions for you. And it's like, okay, where do I start? All right. So let's start with just saying hello. Hello.
It is so great to be talking to you today, to talk to your audience and talk about a topic that's so near and dear to my heart and my passion. My life's work, really, to help people maintain a super high quality of life and performance and just be able to do the things we love. So thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, we're thrilled. So I'm just going to go right into it and talk about what you have been creating with Dr. Stacy Sims, and just the message that seems to be getting out really loud and clear is that we need to start lifting heavy. And because that is our muscle mass, we're starting to lose our muscle mass, and darn it all, we don't want to do that. So, but one of the things that I want you to speak to is, what does that actually mean? Like lifting heavy, because that's kind of scary.
It is, it's intimidating, and it's a journey. I think the first thing is when you hear about getting older and the things that we need to do, and we start ticking the boxes of what do I need to do to maintain the quality of life and the person who I want to keep on being through my entire life into my second phase of my life. And I'm cool because I understand this, because I'm doing it with you. I'm over 50. I have no interest in getting old. And I have no interest in not being a badass and being a leader of people and having the energy and maintaining the kind of energy and functionality that I've had my whole life. It's how I've identified my entire life. So I'm not speaking from a place of, I read this in a book. I'm living it alongside of all of us and all of you. So I think the first thing about lifting heavy is to recognize, yes, we need to lift heavy, but there's a journey. And there's this little bit, it's like wading into the ocean. You got to get your feet wet first, and then you go up a little bit higher, up to your knees. And then before you know it, it's up to your neck. And then you dunk. And the dunk is going to be that lifting heavy. But you can't just dunk. You don't want to do that. You want to just get your toes wet and start to move well. There's a process to getting tissue adaptation and mobility. So we'll put this in a category of movement. We want to move really well. Our movement bubble as we get older gets smaller because we get weaker. We can no longer support these big flowing movements and watch a child run and play. Like I get to play with a 3.5-year-old a few times a week. And it scares the crap out of me because she's so brave, because her body is built to she can fall off stuff, and it might hurt for a second, but almost nothing breaks, so she's got this pliability to her at 3.5 that when we get to 50 or even mid to late 40s, we start losing that pliability in our tissue, and our tissue starts to become rigid. So mobility and movement is number one. Then we have to be patient through that mobility process, and we will use lightweight, moderate weight to enhance movement. So through the journey, we're going to get the movement bubble from here to here, and then we're safe in this zone, and then we're going to expand it even more, and then we're safe in this zone. And now we're about 4 or 5 weeks into consistent 2 or 3 times a week. We don't need a lot of recovery in this phase of training. This is our mobility. This is strength endurance. This is skill development. We're learning how to lift weights. We're learning how to get under load. Then the next phase in the program, we started doing a little bit more muscle hypertrophy. And that's when we're looking, as to your point, we're losing muscle mass. In each decade, we are losing 5 to 10% of our muscle, depending on who we are, hereditary. There's so many factors involved in who we each are. If we've got really good hereditary factors, really good genetics, we might hold on to that muscle a little bit longer. But for the most part, we should all be doing a similar kind of program where we know how to lift weights that are kind of a little heavier, because they're going to be 8 to 12 repetitions. And at the 12th repetition, you need to be kind of done. And that's how heavy it is. If you can get to 8, it's perfect. If you can then start to gain tissue adaptation and muscle development and strength development, then you might be able to get that weight to 10. And over the course of about 4 or 5 weeks of muscle development, now you can get to 12. And that is about the time that we start lifting heavy shit. And that's why it's so dramatic. And the word shit is so strong, right? And we don't like it, but we like it. And so sometimes we say stuff, lift heavy stuff. Whenever I put it in writing, I say stuff. But when we've had that period of tissue adaptation, mobility, and movement development, that's the time when we can feel that risk starts to come down. And we know that we're not putting ourselves at risk. The worst thing that we can do is start to get injured and start to be fearful of lifting heavy weights. We should feel confident. You know, a lot of the videos that we're seeing of women, and we can ask everybody now, you know, post a video of you lifting something heavy. And they're going to just grab it and lift it, you know, with confidence.
Yeah.
And that's the mindset that comes from being a little bit more of a process-oriented woman. I'm okay with having some easier sessions in the first 3 or 4 weeks because I'm adapting. My tissue is now becoming more pliable. It's becoming more, you can hydrate that tissue better. I'm becoming healthier. I'm sleeping better now because I'm actually taxing my systems a little bit more, and that's helping make me tired in a good way.
Yeah.
So once we get through that initial phase and we start getting into that lifting heavier stuff, then we have to find the exercises that we really like and the ones that we feel good about. And for some people, that might be a leg press. For some people, that might be a full back squat. For some people, that might be a straight bar deadlift. For some people, that might be a clean and press. I mean, Sarah Gross is one of the most fun people to follow on Instagram because she does that darn CrossFit and Olympic lifting, and she looks beautiful doing it. But it's a very, very, very high skill set that it takes to do that kind of work.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time. I mean, mad respect for the females that we know and love who are doing it. It just takes time. And that's when it gets kind of exciting, because it's not something that we just try to accomplish in 2 weeks. It's something that we need to commit to for the rest of our lives. And so, you know, maybe you're 50 now, you're going to be better. Maybe you're going to be doing some Olympic lifting by the time you're 53 and 54. You know, life is happening at an incredibly fast rate. So don't wish it away. Live where you are and stay focused. And that's what I think Stacy and I, when we talked about collaborating on this program, we talked about building a long-term relationship with this group of women. And that's why, I mean, we really, relative to our lives and relative to where we're going in the next 5 years, we've been going for less. We're just barely at 5 months with the program. The first round of women who were quick to get on the first program, they just finished their 12 weeks. And I recommended go back and start again, do it all again. And there's little tweaks that I'll start making to those programs. And we're going to keep growing with this movement of women who are really focused, and they want direction, and they want community, and they want to know they're doing it right.
Yeah, I think so. You pointed out like community and the connection, and also I know that this is important to you because we just spoke about it, is like the consistency of finding the small stuff in it. And so can you just speak to that just a little bit more about, you just mentioned tweaking a program and how, like I know so many coaches are get kind of caught up in this idea that we need to, throw something totally new at everybody and new skill set, new, just to keep it vibrant. And can you talk about how hard that is? And
I call that exertainment.
Okay.
Sometimes there's hard for just being hard. Why am I doing this? Because it's hard. And it's probably one of my biggest pet peeves as a strength coach and fitness professional is strength coaches get bored. Fitness professionals, personal trainers, whatever you want to call yourself, they get bored. Unfortunately, the body doesn't get bored. In order for tissue to adapt in a healthy way, it has to it has to be put under load and stress in a similar fashion over and over and over and over. And I can remember when I was in elementary school, learning to write and learning to print, and I had to just practice. And we had those intermediate lines, and I mean, good God, the kids they just type now, when we were growing up. And it's cool because we're all in the same age group, right? We had to get the A all the way up to the dotted line.
The cursive writing, like, do they even know what cursive is anymore? Anyway.
Oh my God, it's horrid. It's like, they don't even know if they're right or left-handed because they don't write. But it's how we were raised, with repetition. So I can remember being so comfortable. And of course I got in trouble a little bit when I was in elementary school as well. So I had to write, repeating things like I will not throw things at people. So I got comfortable with repetition, I think, at a pretty young age, but tissue needs that continuous stress. Squatting is a pattern. It's an exercise, yes, but it's also a pattern. There's a lot of different ways that we can create a squat pattern and make it interesting without making it dangerous. People standing on things that are moving freak me out completely. Like that's we started using Dyna discs and things that wobble around. I'm not a big Bosu ball fan, people like that, but I like a good strong surface that you can get your feet on and you can lift weights. Mm-hmm. But repetition is really an important part of this, and how we keep coming back to it and being okay with simple things done really, really well. And that's a really big tenet of mine. Simple things done really, really well, not hard things that don't translate to performance. So that's very Erin. You're gonna do squat patterns, you're gonna do lunge patterns, you're gonna do deadlifting patterns, you're gonna do pulling. And I hopefully will keep you engaged by the victories that you have on a daily basis in your life. So that being said, most of us aren't gonna win too many races. We might win our age group, but we're not gonna win a race. But that doesn't mean that we can't have daily victories. So I've got a lot of people that I'm training now who are like my friends, my young friends are starting to ride away from me in the mountain bike. And I'm like, their whole goal is to stay with their friends on the rides. They don't want to get dropped because those are their friends, or they're playing pickleball or tennis, or they want to go to a surf camp, or all of these things. These are victories. These are the things. And so I think we're starting to coin a phrase that a win is a win. Great. I beat everybody. But victories, those are daily. Those are like, you can sit there when you're having your dinner or a glass of wine or a cup of tea or whatever you have, and you can just look back on your day and just count up your victories. And even if it's just being a killer role model for someone, whether they're little or whether they're male or female or whoever, the ability to be strong and influential something that's worth working hard for, So those are kind of, I'm starting to define victories and wins as two different things.
I love it. It's showing up.
Yeah.
Showing up for your life in all of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Showing up. I love it. Okay. I'm going to ask you a technical question that I really want to, I just want to know one thing that, okay, actually I've got two. So one is, can you talk about getting sore? And what can women expect and how do we understand? Because like, okay, yeah, I really strained hard. I'm super sore now. And it's like, where do we want to fall on this soreness scale and how, in the recovery parts? Can you talk a little bit to that?
When you're in a predictable, structured environment, like you are in the gym, you should not be sore. You should not crave the pain. You should not judge your workout success by discomfort. It's another huge pet peeve of mine. As a fitness professional, it is not difficult to make someone sore. And we as an industry have misinformed and misrepresented a successful training session with, I haven't been able to sit down for a week. That was an amazing workout. And that's wrong. It's just plain wrong. When you exceed tissue tolerance to the extent that it inhibits other functions and other activities, you now have put yourself back 2 steps and you have inhibited your ability to progress. That's in a structured, controlled environment, right? So we want to just have subtle progressions. You should finish each gym session, quite frankly, wanting a little bit more until you get to be really the creme de la creme de la creme. And there are some women that are listening to this, they're that. They can accept a little bit of soreness because they'll recover really fast because they're so fit in the gym. So they're super gym fit. I would put Sarah a little bit. I would say that somebody that goes to CrossFit 2 or 3 times a week, I would put you in that category. But you shouldn't be sore every time you go to the gym, right? And if you are, you're in trouble. You're going down a bad rabbit hole. But if you feel excited to go to that session, you are ready, your movement bubble is big, and you're like, what are we doing today? We're squatting, we're cleaning, whatever we're doing, then you're probably just fine. But that's such a small percentage of people. We want to be able to define soreness by just, if you can't recover in 24 hours, you have made a mistake, or your trainer has made a mistake with you. It's too much to recover from. So it's like going out on a binge drinking. Like, I like margaritas. I can have 1 a night and be fine, right?
Yeah.
But if I drink 3, I'm smashed and I hate the way I wake up. So you're getting this workout hangover that's inhibiting your ability to live a good life. So in a controlled environment, pain, bad. And you have to be able to assess that. And I'm happy to talk that out with anybody, whether or not they're just in the wrong program, because I did on one of the threads on Facebook here, this woman's like, I'm sore all the time when I'm lifting heavy stuff. And I would challenge that statement to be, your tissue isn't ready for that load. You're not ready for that load. And joint pain is different than muscle pain, and they need to be differentiated. So we as a community just need to keep talking about it and encouraging women to be patient in the process.
Yeah.
But then there's this other side of pain.
Yeah.
And I just trained this woman in upstate New York, and I've been training her custom, just talking to her 2 or 3 times a week, training on Zoom. And her whole goal was to train to be strong, to keep up with her husband for this ski trip they did last week. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. This is where it gets okay. She went to upstate New York, chased her husband through the trees. They did drop down 10-foot drops and landings and just kept skiing through, and they had powder and they played incredibly hard. 3 days in a row she skied. And she goes, I don't know what happened. I had to take a whole day off. And I'm like, because she was so sore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Nice job, sister. So
Yeah.
she's in her mid 50s, her and her husband out playing in the trees, on the skis, and she was physically able to just go do that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that kind of sore,
Yeah.
And ultimately what she's training for is mountain biking and mountain bike racing. And she hadn't been able to train for 2 years because she's got this sciatic problem that's been going on. And we're working with that and getting her stronger for that. And so I feel like that kind of sore, like you've been out playing, or I was at surf camp and my upper back is killing me because I was paddling into waves for 3 hours. I'm okay with that sore. So structured environment, unstructured environment, playtime, work time, they all need to be categorized and perceived in a different way.
Yeah. I really am hearing you, and I'm really appreciating what you're saying. And I think because especially in perimenopause and beyond, there's just there's so much more hormonally what's happening that, when we start looking at the literature, it's like, how do you manage stress? How do you manage stress? How do you manage stress? And this is a stress. And what you're saying is don't dig in so deep that this becomes a problem of like, how the heck are you going to recover on a daily basis?
Yes.
And, because some people want to just be, but some people want to be in the gym, period. That's where that's their mode. That's where they get their mojo going. Like,
yeah,
that's what they want to do. Other people are runners, cyclists, ice climbers, mountain bikers, whatever we're doing. And It just is a compliment so that we can keep doing all that other stuff.
Exactly. Right? Yep.
And so that's what you're saying. I absolutely love that. Another technical question that I'm just so excited to ask you: backing, high intensity training, like aerobic cardiovascular training onto strength workouts. Give me the lowdown on that one.
I love the question. And I think we're going to bat it around a little bit over the next couple years with Dr. Sims. I know, I'm pretty confident. So she has a pattern of 7 days: hard, easy, moderate, hard, long is kind of how I adapt it, because I train a lot of endurance athletes, people who love hiking and biking and triathlon. Mm-hmm. So hard to me means on Monday, it's going to be a moderately hard. Tuesday is going to be really hard. And Tuesdays for most people is an interval day for cardiovascular. And I like to back that up with a heavy lift on Tuesdays. So I'm going to do a moderate lift on Monday for me, and I'm going to do a heavy lift on Tuesday. If somebody wanted to go really heavy, we would just design that program. So maybe it's like front of the body, back of the body, upper body, lower body. Like, we could play with that. There's no right or wrong. You can be really creative with this stuff, but both of those days should be hard. And I think that the easy day on Wednesday, maybe for me, it's Wednesday, and for most of my athletes, it's Wednesday. That's a day for mobility, foundation training, an easy walk, that kind of stuff. Thursday, we can come back and have that moderately loaded lift if we want, but we don't want to really go for it yet. And we can really have that heavy day and another interval day on both either Thursday or Friday. So I might play a little bit more on Thursday in the tempo range for cardiovascular, and maybe not go to threshold or VO2 max on Thursday, but I might save that until Friday.
Right.
And on the VO2 max or the threshold day is the day I would try to hit the weights really heavy.
Right.
So that's kind of a level 5 explanation of somebody who's taken maybe 10 to 12 weeks, maybe even more. They're pretty experienced, and that's how I would place that. Yeah.
Well, I do know that there's a lot of women that are, and this is why I'm asking this question, because I want us to speak up to those women as well. And because it is such a progression, right? And there's a lot of confusion about how do I, because we've just talked about don't dig too hard, and then, strain. And what does that really mean? But I think that and correct me if I'm wrong, but like looking at holistically again at the overall picture, we're not asking you to go like dig so deep that you're like having to shovel yourself out. But
and pain is different than fatigue.
Right.
You know, because as athletes, and even women who are 50 can be new to being athletes. If you have not grown up as an athlete and you've just kind of not identified as an athlete, I love the way Stacy says, if you exercise on purpose, you are an athlete.
I love that too.
And I quote
know.
her. You know, I love that. And so just because you weren't competitive as a younger female, it doesn't mean you're not now. Yeah. And learning the difference between fatigue and pain and needing to rest is really important. And I think that's why Dr. Sims really advocates 2 weeks of build. So week 1 is kind of a hard week. Week 2 is harder than week 1. Now I'm pretty into that because now I know week 3 is going to be easier.
Yeah.
So my mindset is I'm tired. I don't want to do that ride that's on my training peaks, or I don't want to go hiking today. I'm tired. I think you should try and go, you know? Yeah. And I think it'll be good. That's overcoming fatigue mentally, overcoming it. You usually come out of that ride or that run feeling way better. That's a hormonal change, not necessarily as much a physical change. And it's a good thing. You know, if you're devastatingly fatigued, you need to say, I should go get a massage or a pedicure. Mm-hmm. You know, I got a pedicure last week. It was like the most uplifting thing I've done in a long time. It felt amazing. And then I went on to have an amazing weekend of training. So I think having the ability to differentiate between pain, I might get injured if I try and do that ride. Yeah. I'm tired. I don't really want to do that ride, but I know I'll feel better if I do it. And then I shouldn't do it. I'm going to go get a pedicure. You know, that's being a mature, thoughtful athlete. Yeah. And I think that'll take you a long way, being able to, you know, it's like taking a SAT, A, B, or C. Right. Pedicure. And if you find yourself constantly picking the pedicure, maybe we should reevaluate.
Right. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Does it give you energy or does it take it away? That's one thing I always say to my own athletes is like, okay, is this going to be in the right spot? Okay. Honestly, I would just love to keep talking, but I'm going to respect the time frame we've kind of set there. Thank you. So I have 3 questions for you. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Give us one moment of courage.
One moment of courage. The swimming pool is cold and you know it.
I so tap into that. Okay. I am the worst to get in. Tell us one thing that you are grateful for right now.
Oh, my friends, my true friends. In this period of time, I've found out who my true friends are, and I'm thankful for that.
Oh, amen. Yeah. What do you want to say to your younger self that is approaching or in perimenopause or, you know, right at that place? What would you say?
I would say you did a really good job of recognizing that the change didn't mean you had to change. Mm. I hate that half my life is over. I am so excited. On a daily basis, I want to live my life to the fullest. And I've put myself in a position physically to do that. And I'm so thankful for that. And that's what I'm glad I listened. You know, I want to do good things for my body and I want to not take the easy road. Yeah. So,
well, we're so glad that you do, because then you can share it, right? Like that's your passion just coming out. And if you didn't have that, then we wouldn't. And so many women that you work with wouldn't like just feed off the energy that you bring. So thank you for just being you, because then it comes out like, it's just like, Anyway. All right. Is there something that you would like to share with all of our people? Like, how can they find you? Tell us a little bit there.
Well, I just kind of established, you know, like, what do I want? A, I want to help people, but B, I love having athletes. I want people to, if they don't have a strength coach, I want them to consider coming and being part of my community. You know, I don't want to be a sport coach. I don't want to be a swim, bike, run coach. I want to make those guys look really, really well. So if you have a coach, you already know that that's epic. I want to complement that. And I think you can do both. And ECFIT Strength is kind of just a good place to start my website. I'm starting to just get better. I do own a business, so I'm super busy trying to save that here during the pandemic. And I know a lot of people in my industry are really working hard to save their businesses and save their communities. And I'm very much doing that. But this online community is also very, very inspiring for me. And so, yeah, just take a minute, maybe check out my social media stuff. I try to be consistent on it and not just kind of hit and miss. And my website will show you all the ways that you could potentially engage with me and my future coaches. And yeah, I'm just super thankful. So
thank you so much, Erin, for coming on and agreeing and
thanks
for sharing yourself. All right.
Thank
So
you.
Stay tuned for more amazing interviews. And yeah, until next time. Bye.